Section 1.6 is applications. We want to do a few simple applications. The first one is simple interest. And I'm just going to do an example for you. How much how much should Alice invest at 5% annual simple interest to earn $300 in interest in 10 years? Okay, so what's simple interest? Simple interest is the type of interest that you would get if, say, you bought a bank certificate. The bank certificate, you might buy a bank certificate for, say, that pays 4% annual interest, and it matures in 3 years. What does that mean? That means you get 4% interest every year, but you don't get paid any of it until the third year. That's simple interest. Okay? So the first thing is I need to know what the equation for simple interest is. So you'll just need to know this. So I is the interest earned. P is the principal, also known as present value, especially when you're doing economics, principal. Little r is the interest rate, and t is the time. And the formula is I equals PRT. One way to remember that is just remember I is Purdy. I is Purdy. Okay, I equals PRT. It's the principal times the interest rate times time. So in this problem, it says Alice is supposed to earn $300 in interest, so I is 300. So notice how I wrote out the formula without any numbers plugged in, and then underneath it I write out what all the values are for the variables. So I is 300. Let's see, what else do I know? P I don't know. That's what they're asking for. How much should Alice invest? That's the principal. Is 5% annual interest. Remember, 5%, per means divide, 5% means 100. It's like 100 cents in a dollar, right? Cent, 100. So it's 5 per 100. So it's 5 over 100 is a simple interest. And the way you write that, right, per 100. So 5 over 100 just means, dividing by 100 just means move the decimal place 2 places to the left. Decimal point, sorry. Move the decimal point 2 places to the left. Right, so that's going to be 0.05 is your rate, not 5. Okay, be very careful of that. Now, some people will say put the interest rate into decimal form. That's completely wrong. As many of us learned in recent years, when your interest rate for some things can be less than 1%. So say you had 0.2% interest. 0.2% is already a decimal. 0.2% means per 100. So that's supposed to be 0.002. And if you use 0.2, it's going to be wrong if it's 0.2%. Okay, so you're not converting it to a decimal. You're dividing 5 by 100 and then writing the result in decimal form because that's convenient rather than the fraction. It's just convenient when you're writing things out. And then the time, t, it says in 10 years. So t is 10. So now I know what I know what I, R, and T is, and I have to find what P is. So I just plug those numbers into my formula. 300 equals P times 0.05 times 10. Whenever I multiply by a decimal with something on the left of the decimal, I put parentheses around it. So that, because if you put dot 0.05, it looks like a colon. So that's just to avoid confusion. And that's going to be, I just cross-multiplied here. So I just took this 0.05, put it down there, and the 10, put it down there. And you multiply that out, and you get $600. So then what you want to do is look for reasonableness. Does that seem reasonable? if you invested $600 at 5% annual simple interest and you waited for 10 years, would you get $300 in interest? It kind of seems like it's in the ballpark, you know. It might be kind of hard to tell, but it looks like it's in the ballpark to me. Okay, so that's simple interest.